New Year. Merry Christmas.
Oh, Lord.
Happy Thanksgiving.
No,
Happy
were
Halloween.
we gone that long?
Happy 4th of July. We're back.
We're back. We don't know how long it's been, but hello.
It's okay. I like that we take a little break in the winter and we take a little break in the summer. Like, that's normally what happens. We should just embrace that.
I guess so.
Like, we take off the holidays and we take off
I
a
think
little
just
bit in the summer.
Good communication would be nice, so people aren't just white knuckling out there when our podcast doesn't come out on a Monday and they don't have any information about when it'll be out next.
Yeah.
I had a big Vietnamese coffee earlier, so excuse me if I'm caffeinated. Well, caffeinated.
Yep, we've been caffeining.
But I'm also very tired. We had some blood drawn. I feel a little deflated.
Do you? I feel okay, honestly, but I also stayed up late, so maybe that's it. Well, where to begin? So much has happened since we last chatted.
Well, sure.
LA burned down.
That's where you want to jump in.
Well, I have an idea. I want to get on the record.
Yes, what's up?
Because someone's going to do it, and then I'll say, dude, I thought of that, and I'll have proof. But every house that burned down has water piped underground. Water is already being sent to every single home in Los Angeles. And so why is there not like pipes that stick out of the ground or surround the houses or the premises? This should be standard in places like LA where there's big fires. And it's like, oh, so every house has that. And there's like, should be like a switchboard that the city can control. So it's like, oh shit, there's a fire on 4th Street, fucking 5th Street, 3rd Street, like make them all super fucking wet. Let's try to contain this thing. But instead we're taking trucks of water and we're like dumping water from the sky. Like there's water. We already have the water. It's piped. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just felt like it's crazy that these houses are burning down and there's water being piped to them.
Yeah, I understand the frustration. It is crazy to watch them burn down and you do feel helpless. Like surely there's more we could do. Like tap into the water that's already piped to this house directly. But, it often was like falling on homeowners to do that, right? Like stay behind and use their hose to run water and like do that, which is obviously super dangerous.
I mean, homeowners could, I guess, do it, and then it's not something the city gets to control. But if you're like on vacation in New York or something, you're like, fuck, there's a fire, like, whoop, like my house just got super wet, and I'll just leave that thing running.
Yeah, I understand. There is like a collective amount of water resources available, it's not like an infinite supply. So you do have to manage it collectively.
You ever seen an ocean?
Yep.
It's a lot of water.
Sure. But to treat water and make it usable and like fit for consumption or whatever for various purposes, it requires treatment
too. So maybe for LA, this is ocean water. This is just salt of the earth. So
I don't have all the answers. I did take a fire mapping course once. I wish we had learned more about, I guess where fire and civilization meet, when they collide. Amanda was just talking about this in her class. She's doing what was it? It's like not a climate refugee, but an urban planning class for climate change.
Well, like for the future and like where and trends seem to be going.
Right. So she's been particularly interested in like the heat issue, right? Like how as places get increasingly hot, Tucson, LA, all these major areas, like what do people do? How can we protect renters, make sure that they're given the like a livable temp to if they're paying rent, right? Like there's an agreement involved with taking care of people. You're saying? No, just in general, like protecting renters, protecting unhoused people, like making sure there's cooling centers so that people who don't have a house or like any respite from the heat have places to go so they're not just cooking.
Yeah, like those mist things like at Great America, like there was like the Coca-Cola chill out tent. You stand there and just mist. Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. Like
there should be some of that going.
It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have all those answers, but
I mean, a lazy river through town would solve a lot of these problems because you got people walking in the streets in the summer, dying of heat stroke. Instead of walking on the street, they could be floating in a tube, cooling off. And then where you get to where you got to go, you get out of the river, You dry off pretty quick in the desert.
It's just like a sanitation thing, you know? Who's going to clean the water when somebody pukes in it or poops in it?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. I have this biscuit I'm going to share with you.
Okay.
But I thought about it earlier and I was like, how do I share it, you know? Because, like, you know, the top of the biscuit's different than the bottom of the biscuit.
It's true. It's like
So
a
in
muffin
theory,
that way.
yeah, you want both sides. Cut it in half and then cut it in half again. I feel like I'll make unnecessarily
Too many cuts.
too many crumbs even. I'm going to shed some volume.
Right. You want to do this in as few cuts as possible.
That's a good looking biscuit though.
That is a nice biscuit.
Shout out to Decibel Coffee and their second location. I love Decibel Coffee.
Their location was really nicely decorated.
Yeah, it's so
Feels
cute.
good
It's
in
in the Soul Block and on Broadway near Country Club or Tucson. Yeah, it's pretty legit.
And they give you a little jam. Wow. I mean,
So I guess
Look at that.
I'm just doing it like this, and we'll each get what we get: honey,
I support it.
butter, and jam. Those are happy things for me.
Yeah. Well, what else went on in the world while we were gone?
Well, I mean,
Elon
the
Musk,
election.
Nazi salute.
Yeah. All sorts of stuff going on out there in the universe. What keeps you up at night? Because I don't want to derail us too much.
Well, I did kind of think a lot about that Nazi salute. Because, like, what are the different scenarios, you know? Like, I watched Jon Stewart talk about it. He's like, if I'm being as generous as possible towards Elon Musk, like, here's what that was. Which is like, I guess, a total freak accident. He just made that motion. He meant, my heart goes out to you guys. He was just so excited to have all these new friends, you know? And it just got the best of him. Okay, that's as generous as you can get. So even that guy gets off stage. Yeah, load me up. Even that guy gets off stage, and then pretty quickly someone goes like, do you know you did like a Nazi salute out there? And that guy, because we're being so generous about his intentions, would say, what? Like, no, that's not a Nazi salute. Like I was saying, my heart goes out to you. Like that's a total accident. I'm not a Nazi at all. That guy then, I would think, would go, you know what I'll do? I'll go on my, because they'd be like, yeah, it totally looks like a Nazi salute, which, like, you have to agree it looks like a Nazi salute, right? Like even Elon Musk or even Donald Trump would have to admit,
see the similarity.
yeah, like it resembles a Nazi salute. It's not like he just did like a skip or, so.
Yeah, it wasn't a tick.
So yeah, someone would have said like, yeah, that, you did. And then he would see it and go like, wow, yeah, it looks like a Nazi salute. And they'd be like, yeah, like some Nazis are kind of like stoked on it because it looks like you did a Nazi salute at the presidential inauguration of the United States of America. Like, if I was that guy, I would think I would get on my big social media platform, which I tweet on all the time, and just say like, dude, for the record, like, I just saw that. Like, it looks like I did a fucking Nazi salute. So Nazis are awful. White supremacy is retarded and gay. Talking the language of the people.
Trying to make his wife squirm over here. This guy.
And like that's as generous as I could be. And so now, if he totally accidentally did that, now he's just sitting back like a little troll, being like, well, I'll just let the whole country fight each other over this instead of like resolving it easily. He's a real troll.
Do you have your phone with you?
Yeah.
Can you fact check me? Because I am under the impression that immediately following that, he like zoomed into a conference for the alt-right Nazi party in Germany. This growing far-right movement that's like problematic there. And
I
he
don't know how to fact check this.
just say, did Elon Musk go to like or even comments from Elon Musk's speech at the alt-right convention in Germany. He was like, you guys, you don't need to be paying or like feel sorry or whatever for the sins of your parents, let alone your grandparents. And he had all these sympathetic messages for these people. So I think we're past the point of like pretending like, is it or is it not? It was a Nazi salute. it's pretty clear what side of the issues I think he's on. So
Yeah, I just asked if he did that immediately after. Yes, following the inauguration, Elon Musk participated in a virtual meeting with Germany's far right, the AFD is what it's called. During this event, Musk addressed approximately 4,500 attendees via video link, expressed his support for the AFD, and encouraging Germans to take pride in their culture, emphasized that children should not feel guilty for this, blah, 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 exactly what you just said. Too much focus on past guilt and advocating for moving beyond it. Then it goes on to about his, because he's been like involved or supportive of the AFD, I guess, before the inauguration.
And so let's review, like, what does the AFD stand for again?
Well,
like, not like the acronym, like what is, because I know
it's a big like anti-immigrant, it's a far right,
xenophobic,
like
right,
our
white
friends and
national
family in
ideology,
Germany.
right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty safe to say
That says a lot.
Says a lot.
That says a lot right there. That says more than the Nazi salute at the inauguration.
And of course, he's not going to clarify what he meant by it. He loves the fact that we're all here up in arms about did he or didn't he.
I know.
That's what he
he's kind of a
wants.
sociopath, which is
Well,
scary.
he's definitely a sociopath.
Because he's also so rich and so powerful, and now he's buddies with the president.
Yeah, and like
so like it is kind of scary that a guy who just cares that little about like what's happening to people.
I mean, the potential for corruption is like bottomless, just bottomless.
Sure.
And the fact that he's now going to be just like washed clean of all of his legal issues. So, like the U.S. government, Department of Justice, was suing him for a number of things, is my understanding. And now all of his cases are just going to be kind of like, meh, swept under the rug because he's in the first row. It's wild. Like seeing some of those images from the inauguration of, you know, Zuckerberg and Bezos and Musk. It's just scary reality of how much sway corporations have on U.S. politics now. And
well, they always have, of course.
They have,
but it's very
the scale
open.
at which money has changed is pretty substantial. Yeah. And, you know, like these people have more money than like is fathomable, really.
Sure, they're some of the richest people ever.
Yeah, it's just like insane at this point. Like catching up to a figure like that is impossible, right? Like there's never a way because they're going to continue to compound their wealth forever and ever and ever.
Like, the government has to step in and break up these giant companies.
But it will not. That's the point. They have first row passes. They have hall passes for everything.
Exactly. Like if you saw a photo of like I don't know, President like Grover Cleveland, and he's with like John D. Rockefeller and you know Getty and the fucking Carnegie, like Andrew Carnegie, you'd be like, okay, obviously we know how this went. Mm-hmm. Like this is just they were buddies, and these are the richest people hanging out with the president. Like clearly, obviously that's what's going to happen through that relationship. And people are going to look back at the Trump inauguration as the same thing. Like, yeah, see that line of just the richest people of all time standing there. Like, okay, yeah, like what did we think was going to happen here, you know?
I forget the other guy, the guy involved with Google.
Don't know
his name. It's not like, oh man, I don't know. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't feel hopeful from where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I think it's more dangerous than we even know. And I think so many of our civil liberties are about to just be rolled back, and it's going to be a really uphill climb to kind of gain back the footing that we're giving up right now. Not by choice, but like if this is tug of war, we're really fucking crossing the line right now. We're not got our footing over here.
Yeah,
as like
I wonder
people,
what's going to happen.
You know, just trying to live their lives.
Yeah.
And yeah, the prices on groceries. Are you prepared? Everything's gonna be astronomical.
So is the idea that like it gets worse before it gets better? That's kind of their hope, like that you're gonna create all these tariffs, so suddenly all this stuff that we buy is gonna get very expensive, which is gonna incentivize American companies to start making stuff here and selling it here, and then.
I don't know how that works on produce. Like, there's a reason that some foods are grown in South America versus North America. Like, climate and
Yeah.
stuff
Is there
has a
tariff
real
on
deal.
like everything, like groceries and stuff?
Yeah,
too?
there's going to be tariffs on your limes, your avocados, your corn, your coffee, your chocolate, your every single
So
thing.
you're thinking
Whiskey,
like every
tobacco.
import is getting a tariff.
I saw a list today. It's more like countries are, right? They're trying to change essentially the tax codes and like the deals that they make on their importing,
Right.
like on everything.
Yeah.
But the real person that pays that is the American consumer because companies can't afford not to pass that fee to customers.
Yeah. Targeting imports from Canada, Mexico, and China. 25% tariff on goods with a reduced 10% tariff specifically for Canadian energy resources. So, yeah, I would assume the thought process behind that is like, it gets bad. You incentivize the American public to buy American things. Like, yeah, we're going to suffer by having to spend more to buy shit, and we're going to be pissed about it. Mm-hmm. And then American companies are going to say, here, we made this here, so it's actually, we can sell it to you cheaper now. And then we'll start buying that stuff. And then that's kind of the hope, right?
I'm not sure. You could maybe ask the internet what the perceived gains would be, because it just seems like it adds a lot of instability to a market that's already kind of struggling from supply chain issues and production cost issues and all sorts of things that are already going on poorly.
Yeah, I think with a lot of this stuff, like we were talking the other day with some friends that are conservative, and like they're like, we all kind of like agreed on the same outcome. We all wanted the same outcome, but it was like how to go about it. And it was like, yeah, it's like auditing government spending is great. Of course, we don't want the government to spend frivolous money. We'd love someone to take a closer look at that and like try to cut down on it. But this like drastic, like shut everything down, like furlough people, like the like kind of immediate, Tasmanian devil approach to it is maybe actually like a little too quick,
a little
too hasty, and it's not going to be a lasting change. It's just going to be like a flash in the pan, like jerk, but it's going to you need systematic kind of change. But at the same time, systematic change takes forever and you go through a bunch of bureaucratic hoops, and it's like, that's where the other side of the bullshit lives. But okay, let's see. The hopeful outcome of tariffs in the long run, as advocated by Trump administration, includes several key economic and political goals. Boost domestic manufacturing by making foreign goods more expensive. Tariffs encourage businesses to source materials and products domestically. So that's like we were saying. Reduce trade deficits. The U.S. has historically run significant trade deficits, particularly with China. Tariffs are intended to discourage imports and increase domestic production. I mean, yeah, it's all about domestic production.
It's just weird, like a weird power play. Like you would think you would want kind of open trade with countries that you're allied with.
Well, we're not allied with China.
I mean, but in a lot of senses we are. Like we're cohabitating this planet. We depend on them for a lot. Like whether we choose to admit it or not, like we're in a partnership with them. We have a relationship, and this kind of behavior, I think, ultimately threatens that, endangers that a little bit, right?
Perhaps.
So
I mean, it at least seems to me we have somewhat of an adversarial relationship with China, as do they with us.
What are the perceived, or what are some of the unintended consequences?
The negatives.
Yeah, when we hear the other side.
Of course, great. Thank you for asking. Potential risks and counter arguments already supplied by ChatGPT. While these are intended benefits, critics argue that tariffs could lead to higher consumer prices, retaliatory tariffs, job losses in tariff-impacted industries, and economic slowdowns. The long-term success of the tariffs will depend on whether they achieve their intended goals without causing excessive economic harm. So it's like, will the drastic change, like, there is an initial hit. And is that initial hit...
Can Americans afford it? Because we have an all-time percentage of people living paycheck to paycheck. Like, what is it now? I think it's over 60 or 70% of Americans. So can we afford to take the hit for our government to play this game? They're playing a chess match, and it's just... I don't know. It's
Well, there
too
is a
much.
hit. Like, even in the best case
I know, but
scenario.
it's just ironic because Trump was like, well, the price of groceries is astronomical. Like, we got to fix this. We got to fix the price of eggs. And then here they are. And like, our eggs are going to be $5 more, right? Like the irony of just how little he cares about our actual economic well-being, I think.
But the
is
long-term
clear.
goal is to get the grocery prices down. There's an initial, it gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
Even in the best case scenario of what they're trying to do, like it's supposed to get worse before it gets better. But yeah, the question is, do we survive that hit? Like
Yeah.
the little dip where it gets worse, how bad does it get? And yeah, do we survive it, or does it create like generational poverty, you know? Because like somebody like lost a job, lost a house, and then it's like, oh, now what are your kids doing? And what are your grandkids going to do? You know, so yeah.
Percentage of Americans living paycheck to paycheck?
The proportion of Americans living paycheck to paycheck varies across studies reflecting different methodologies and definitions. A 2024 analysis by the Bank of America Institute found that approximately 25% of U.S. households allocate 95% of their income to essential expenses, effectively living paycheck to paycheck.
That's so much lower than I thought. You said 25%?
According to Bank of America. In contrast, a 2024 survey by Payroll.org reported that 77% of workers would face financial difficulty if their paycheck were delayed by a week.
Sure, financial difficulties, a little vague, but okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of how they looked at it. But, I mean, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. I don't think anyone's denying that.
Well, and there's all this uncertainty. You know, we had one friend whose whole entire industry got freaking cease and stop work orders, can't do operations for 90 days, and then they have to reassess and see what happens then.
Then they find out if they have a job or if they even get paid for their 90 days.
They're flushing out everyone in the federal government. They're sending like basically scammy emails encouraging all federal employees to resign and warning of mass layoffs. They're doing like a lot of really shady stuff.
Which again, the government probably is too big. Too many people are.
Okay, but who ask
have
yourself?
A salary with the government.
You're operating under the guise that this is all well-intentioned firings to rebuild better. I'm not sure that that's true. I think the purging that's coming is only to stack those positions with people who are Project 25 Trump supporters through and through. That's the point of cleansing it. Isn't to actually make it better. It's to make sure everybody behind them is Trump supporters. He's been very vocal about it. That's the whole point of Project 2025. Mass exodus and rehiring of Trump supporting people. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It's just, so it's like not even worth debating because I think the intentions are so impure. But that's just me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, me too, dude. I get scared. What keeps me up at night is like, will Trump leave office? Which I know there are people hearing that like going, oh my God, you're so ridiculous. But like, I don't know, dude. People really love him. He's a populist. He reminds me a lot of Julius Caesar. And like, if 50% or even 40% of the US population was calling for him, like stay for life, like, and then we'll let Barron take over. We love that little guy.
Watching the videos of people freaking out and cheering for Barron is really haunting to me. Like seeing his smug little quiet face and just like he just is eating it all up, and you know he's just I do not trust that family.
Yeah,
don't trust any of it.
But if a bunch of Trump supporters were asking for him to stay, I don't think he has the strength of character to be like, I appreciate that. I'm very flattered, but America needs people to not stay.
Why are you even talking about it? He said he's not going to step down. Like, be prepared for him not to step down. He's said that. There's already laws trying to get it in, amendments to the Constitution coming out of Tennessee, trying to make it so that you can have a third term as president. Like, he doesn't play by the rules. Why would you think he would? He has never. He doesn't care about the democratic, like, institution at all. That's how he got where he is, because he's the candidate that shakes things up.
Right. So you're saying he has said before, I plan to stay in office till my death.
He's like joked about it. He said maybe it's not enough. he's said like, oh, when it ends, if that's when I leave, basically.
Okay. Fact check. Fact check's brought to you by ChatGPT 4.0 today. So
Do we trust them?
Take it up with them.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't either anymore.
We're just telling you what they're telling us. As of February 2025, President Donald Trump has not explicitly stated an intention to remain in office for life. However, he has made remarks suggesting a desire to extend his tenure beyond the constitutionally mandated 2 terms. For instance, during an April 2019 event...
Sounds like a yes to me after all.
During an April 2019 event, he joked about remaining president for 10 or 14 years. In March 2018, he praised Xi Jinping for abolishing term limits, saying he's now president for life. I think it's great. Maybe we'll have to give that a shot someday. I wonder if he wants to do it.
He absolutely wants to do it. Like, come on,
More recently,
people.
in December 2023,
Wake
during
up.
an interview with Sean Hannity, Trump was asked if he would abuse power or act as dictator if reelected. He responded that he would be a dictator only on day one to implement certain policies, such as building
Which
a
he's
border
done.
wall and increasing, but did not elaborate further. Additionally, in January 2025, Congressman Andy Olgs introduced a House joint resolution proposing an amendment to the U.S. Constitution to allow president to be elected for up to 3 terms. So,
The writing's on the wall.
yeah,
He's
I
not-
think
he's not going anywhere voluntarily.
historically they'll look back and say like it was pretty obvious, but people were really excited about him, and he really represents like the anti-establishment to a lot of people.
Yeah, I understand those poor
And like
disillusioned
the
people.
establishment is a mess, you know. Like we should
Yeah.
all be a little anti-establishment.
I agree.
It's just like, is this the guy to fall into the arms of? Like he's no George Washington, you know. Like George Washington was a humble servant who everyone was shocked that he didn't just stay in office. He was like, no, I'm going to step down after these years and like we're going to reelect someone else. Like this is what we talked about, and everyone was like, oh shit, like you know, he didn't have to do it. Like he could have got away with not doing it. He was revered. People would even call him like King George, like kind of like as a joke, but like he didn't. But he set the precedent. Like no, you leave when you're done. Like you leave, and then like great.
Is that, he had a weird Austrian
You
accent
leave
or
when
what?
it's over. You go. Yeah, he's from Argentina.
Yeah, nice.
I love it. I love to. You have to go.
I mean, sure, he was problematic in his own way, you know, but
No, but like we're so lucky that he did that. He didn't have to do that.
yeah, I probably would have gone a lot different after that had he,
Yeah.
you know. Had
The
he
whole
gone
thing,
different.
the whole way they did it, we're pretty lucky that it went that way.
I don't feel too lucky with how things are going lately. I feel weird that, you know, like talking about just the process of how it all works. Like it's kind of crazy how few electoral college votes most of the states on the East Coast get. Like a lot of like our best educated, most highly educated states are right there and their count is so low. It's a shame.
So it's based on population?
I
Or
think
what?
some of it is, yeah. I think it is. That's how many representatives you get. That's why places like California and Florida, New York and Illinois have so many, because just a lot of people, a lot of constituents, if you will.
Oh, I will. Yes, the Electoral College is partially based on population, but also includes elements that give smaller states more influence.
Maybe not enough. Let's give Vermont a couple more. Let's give Massachusetts some more. Let's go ahead and
what
bump
about
that up
getting
in
rid of the
Connecticut.
Electoral College?
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Like, is there still such a difference between the farmer and the person in New York City? Like, those used to be completely different countries, basically.
Yeah.
With completely different interests. And obviously, city versus farm living, there are different interests. But culturally, you're in the same boat. Like, you know, does the Electoral College not apply as much as it once did?
I don't know. I'm
don't
not
know
sure
either.
how I feel about it. I just feel like it's weird, like the popular vote can still not amount to the election results. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you've been sick a while.
I have.
You've been sick for quite
This
some
one's
time.
it's been a lingerer. A bit of a lingerer.
Yeah.
But,
Never get to the bottom of it. It's like, where does snot come from, you wonder?
well, also my nose is so dry and like crusty that I keep blowing it and picking because it just feels uncomfortable, but then it's not letting it heal. So I'm just kind of, and my nose just stays drier and drier
Put the
because
castor oil in it?
I didn't do it yet.
Ah.
Look at me. I look like a schlemiel.
You didn't
I'm
do it.
unkempt. Is unkempt the word? When your mom was here, I said unkempt, and she was like, unkempt. And I was like, that's right. That's what I said. And then I was like, unkept. Seemed right, but no.
I trust my mom. She's a stickler.
Yeah, no,
for
of
words.
course. And unkempt. Yeah, that sounds better. I'm
Well,
unkempt. Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm unkempt.
Hi, I'm Christine, and I am unhinged. Nice to meet you. Cheers. Unkempt and unhinged.
I was listening to something about the French Revolution, and it's more of a failure than the American Revolution. The American Revolution lasted, and
Created
the French
massive
Revolution.
change.
It did. The French Revolution created big change, but it was just kind of disorganized. There wasn't a leader. There was no nobody was at the top. It was full kind of mob the whole time. I mean, there
Yeah,
was
it was a little
they
more
put someone in
passionate
power
and violent.
stuff. Yeah, but also the challenge was America was like a breakaway colony turned country versus France was it's already France and we're gonna flip we're gonna oust the king and take over within France. We the American Revolution, we didn't take over London, and London didn't become the United States of America. That would have been it's a much harder thing to do, Anyway.
Interesting. Yeah.
Boring.
Revolution. Woo. Yeah, I don't know. I can't I don't want to advocate for chopping off people's heads in a guillotine, but
You don't want it.
some ways I'm like, wow, no.
You don't want it, and no matter how much you hate Donald Trump, I gotta tell you, you don't want him to
it'd
get
make it worse.
assassinated.
Make it worse.
Way worse. The vacuum is already created.
Yeah, I just I'm not gonna cheer for violence. But man, I have bad feelings about every single thing that's happening.
Me too.
Every single thing. It's so scary.
Julius Caesar never became emperor. They killed him.
That's really
The Senate
sad.
was fuck this guy.
has too
It was
much
the Roman
power.
Republic. It was a republic run by a Senate with a leader. But it was a whole system. And then Julius Caesar was so powerful. They're dude, he's gonna try to stay for life. He's gonna try to make himself dictator for life. And so the Senate was we got to kill him. But the people in Rome preferred Caesar over the Senate. It was only the Senate. People loved Julius Caesar.
I know he had a lot of coins.
A lot of coins.
A lot of coins.
And the Senate was we got to kill this guy. It's too dangerous. And so they killed him at the Ides of March. And then, it was too late, though. The vacuum of Julius Caesar was there. And as soon as they killed Julius Caesar, then you had emperors stepping up. And then it became the Roman Empire. That was the death of the Republic, was killing Julius Caesar. That was perhaps the biggest mistake.
I guess we're due for the same.
It parallels a lot.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
But
I don't know.
yeah, I fear America eventually turns to the American Empire, and we have a royalty, czars, Caesars.
Freaky.
That would be bad.
Yeah, how about all this crazy stuff trying to get Greenland? We were looking at that a little bit. So I have kind of heard of this concept, right, where as temperatures raise around the globe and more sea ice melts and the Arctic North becomes a viable path for boats,
Yeah.
it's going to open obviously all these shipping routes and trade routes that have been kept unkempt. No, they just haven't been a thing, So anyways, it's interesting, I guess, strategically that he would want the land, but also so wildly imperialistic and fucked up. Dude, we can barely keep it together in America. What do you need to go conquer and take over this other country for?
I don't know. I don't know the details. Maybe it's a smart move to
Well,
get
it would
Greenland.
be militarily speaking trade route, but
Maybe economically, maybe it's good for Greenland.
geopolitically, I just don't get why. I don't know. You're gonna
Geopolitically, having more power, more strength, more.
But that's
space.
threatening to Russia. That's threatening to the EU. It's a almost aggressive act to be
Sure.
I'm coming for this land.
But this is what these big Like
But
Russia
no,
and China and
no.
the U.S. This is what they're doing.
Well, they need to shut it down.
It's
Fucking
like
take
if we
care of
don't
people.
take Greenland, Russia's eventually or China's eventually going to try to take Greenland.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
Eventually,
that
there
just
will only be 3 countries in the whole world. You know, like it's gonna.
I hate
it
what
just-
you're saying.
It just keeps going. It's always gone like that. If you look at a like civilization, we were like tribes of 5, then like tribes of 20, and then those got this, and then that, and then you have cities, and then you have countries. Like, you know, the country of Italy, like in Roman times, like that was Rome. The Carthaginians, like
I get it. I get the concept.
It's just over time it becomes more, and then it'll be Earth.
I don't have to
There'll be
advocate
a one
for
world
that.
government.
I don't
It's
have
gonna
to
happen.
advocate for that, and I don't want that to happen because when that happens, how few choices do people have?
But wouldn't
about
you rather?
what they get to, how they get to live? If you have 3 choices, you don't have a lot of choices in this life.
I agree, but wouldn't you rather? And this is flawed. This is selfish. This is like the human flaw of the human ego. But wouldn't you rather? It's the country that you're living in take over rather than China take over.
I mean, I don't want to see it either way. So it's like,
But
why?
you have it's like you don't really have that option.
No,
Eventually, there will be only one.
I refrain from answering it because I don't want to see my country like and annex all this land and people that especially, I mean, it's one thing if it's like, you know, you brought up the point, like maybe the people of Greenmark want their independence from, Greenland want independence from Denmark.
Right.
Right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
maybe they want that and actually their livelihood and quality of life would be better
Most
under
of them
American rule.
apparently 85% rejected the proposition.
I would certainly think so because they're
So
paying
they're
attention.
against it.
So yeah, I could never be like, yeah, let's do it against their will.
No.
So,
But eventually your grandchildren will be subjugated by an overlord government. They're either, I mean, you're subjugated either way. Like we're subjects of the American government. It just feels like, unfortunately, it goes our way. Life's better for us and our ancestors if America stays on top, which is a fucking terrible situation that we're in.
I certainly don't feel like America's on top. I think America on top is like a myth that we've been spoon-fed our whole life. And I think, I don't know.
I don't think that's true. We're not like best at math.
Right.
We're not in those ways. We're not on top.
In a lot of ways, we're not
Even
on top.
our economy, but our
Quality of life, maternal
the weight we
care,
push around
family care,
in
all sorts of
global
stuff.
politics, I think we're very much on top.
It's only one mode.
Yeah, we have one mode where we're on top, and that's the one.
And I mean,
But it's a pretty big one.
there's
Wouldn't
also
you
a
think?
pretty big target that's been on our
Yeah.
back for a long time, which you could argue makes us even more vulnerable. And so I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
at the
and, like-
maybe at the top ish, but
Also, you
don't know
know,
if that's a good
I
thing.
was playing devil advocate there a little bit, but we should temper our desire to grow and conquer because you can't spread yourself too thin.
absolutely
as well,
And
which Rome did also. That eventually that was the fall of Rome. Like
doing too much.
they were just spread too thin. It got split in half where it's like this is now the Byzantine Empire and this is I'm probably butchering shit, but like they eventually spread themselves just too thin and it just
I mean,
collapsed.
I think that happens often, right? Like, didn't
Yeah.
Hitler kind of have the same problem? Like, you pick
Hitler
enough
had a number of
enemies and you
other
spread
problems.
out far and wide enough, and all of a
I
sudden
mean, he was
you're,
fighting a war on 2 fronts, and that's
Yep.
never good. But he also blew himself up in a bunker, and that was really a big problem for him,
Hmm.
exploding.
Seems like it was the solution he was looking for.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. Whoa, little Hitler talk and some scones by Decibel Coffee.
We're back to Hitler.
No,
People think that Hitler did not kill himself. By the way, have you heard this theory?
no.
Like, if you think about Hitler, this full fucking psycho at war with the whole world, do you actually kill yourself or do you just fake it and then just go live somewhere? You're Hitler. You have the ability to go live anywhere. You have like you're a pretty powerful guy even at the time. You know, you're
Yeah, I mean,
you're up
there's
against
no
the
cell
world,
phones.
but
You could really go
they
incognito
think he
back
went to
then.
Argentina. There's a lot of Germans fled to Argentina.
Right.
There's a place called Germantown. Like it's like full blown. There are Nazis who fled to Argentina,
Yep. I've
and
heard of
perhaps
this.
Hitler did it too.
I hope not. I hope he didn't get to live out his years in
What if he
peace.
comes? How old would Hitler be right now?
I mean, he was chancellor starting in like what, the early 30s?
33. He became
33.
chancellor. Would he be like 120 right now?
Yeah, it's a little much.
How old would Hitler be today? Brought to you by ChatGPT 4.0.
Trump.0.
He'd be 135 years old. So even if he didn't blow up in the bunker, I don't think he's still alive.
We'd be rid of him, yeah.
He's out. He's gone. He's not
Good.
here anymore.
We don't need him.
He's not around no more.
No one wants him here.
Yeah, he was kind of unwelcome.
Fuck that guy. What?
I just had like a feeling like I'd never pushed record.
Ooh. No, I'm looking at a red light. Anyways, we can't just constantly just talk about these bad politics. It's just so... Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
What else you got? Anything good?
Oh, man.
Anything good? Anything lighter?
I got some new music coming out really soon.
That's cool.
A group called The Midwest.
Hey.
Brendan Goldwasser and I. And that'll be really cool. And we're also launching like a new music collective called Gimme That Music.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
Which, yeah, we'll have to have Brendan on here soon to discuss all this. But yeah.
So your goal with that is to like have musicians come to Give Me That Music and come to you for help, like launching their project, releasing an album, recording something, what?
Yes. Like the idea is that friends of ours, we have a lot of really talented friends. And I know a lot of them, including myself, are just sitting on a ton of music that's really good. Mm-hmm. It's just not finished. It's not out, you know?
Yeah.
And
Call
so,
it a demo if you must, but it's better out than in.
Exactly. And so, helping people just kind of put those set a schedule, put the finishing touches on, put something out, and then also release it correctly, like with a little bit of marketing, a little bit of cleverness, you know, and physical product as well, like help them set up a shop, like a website. So, but we're launching it with this, the Midwest project.
Very cool.
Which is cool. I'm excited about it. I've been mixing it a lot, getting a little better at mixing.
Anyways.
Well.
Next time. Catch you soon.
Love you guys. Thanks for
Love
watching.
you.
Good night, everybody.